And I've been a professor at BYU for about 20-something years, although for 10 years of that I was away at the Desert News, which is a newspaper owned by the Mormon Church, to do a job there, taking the morning and revamping the paper and all that kind of stuff.
All right. You have a reputation of being most loved, most erudite faculty member. The students speak so highly of you. Why is that?
I don't know. It's a carefully contrived myth. I think I don't know why they think that.
Okay, so you're being modest.
I'm evading the question.
Okay. I understand you are the winner of one of the Pulitzer Prizes,
Yes.
or at least one.
Yes.
Tell us for what did you receive that?
It was for Indonesia. I was covering Southeast Asia for the Monitor. I was based in Hong Kong. I was never in Hong Kong because my territory was from Okinawa in the east to Burma, as it then was, Myanmar as it is now, in the other end of the spectrum, and down to and including the Philippines and Taiwan and Indonesia. And I spent a lot of time in Indonesia, and at a time when you couldn't get in, kind of massaged my means of getting in and that kind of stuff. And so I was very lucky to be there when, I don't know if you remember, but the Indonesian Communist Party, which had become the third largest in the world after China and Russia, or Soviet Union, was very, very powerful, but did not have control. They had representation, but they did not have control. And so they launched a coup with rebel units of the Indonesian army against the army's high command. They murdered 6 top generals in their homes and were set to take over the country. A man called Suharto, who was on the list to be executed or to be murdered, actually had been at the beach fishing with his son that night, so escaped the murder. Got back to Jakarta, the capital, regrouped the loyalists of the army, and put down the coup. They hoped that President Sukarno, who'd done much to meld Indonesia into one country, because it's an archipelago, there are 3,000 miles of islands, was ambivalent about. They thought he would crack down and be on their side, but he was ambivalent about the Communist Party and so forth and so on. So he lingered on for a while, and the army said, all right, well, we're going to go on a purge. And they went through the country, killing communists and training and egging villagers to go kill communists. And I'm telling you more than you need to know, but some of the highest figure was 1 million people killed. I think that's much too high, but I do think they killed somewhere around 500,000 people in Indonesia, and it was pretty bloody. And I had the good fortune to be the only American correspondent, because it buttoned up the whole country. You couldn't get out, you couldn't get in. And there were 3 of us, 3 foreign journalists in Indonesia, myself from the Christian Science Monitor, and a good friend, Fred Emery from the Times of London, and a guy from the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. So we didn't know, we couldn't get our copy out the normal way. So we used to ride out at the airport, and there was something called carbon paper in those days. And on our little typewriters we typed a couple of copies of our dispatches. And there were a couple of planes going out from time to time, and so we would look at a passenger on the plane saying, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to Singapore. Would you mind going to the Cable and Wireless in Singapore and handing that in? But we didn't always trust one person, so we then got to another person who might be going to the Philippines or Hong Kong. Would you mind going to Cable and Wireless, dropping us off? We didn't know. I don't know whether all of my dispatches got there, but all copies got there. But I do know that I found out months later that one copy of every dispatch got back to Boston, and the Monitor headquarters, and got published, and that's what I got the Pulitzer for.
All right. How does a man, professor, who's not